Dear students, in the last class we have seen what the physical address is, and today I'll continue with logical addresses. And what this logical address is? Physical address is used to identify the machine or identify the computer on the network. And for each computer, the physical address may be different. When we are in the network or in the many number of networks are communicating together, then it is very difficult to identify each and every computer on the network. So that's why for each and every network, the router will give one address, one common address. And that common address, we will call it as a logical address. Here you can see the physical addresses are not adequate in an inter-network environment where different networks can have different address formats. Okay, even the different network, different LAN will have different type of address formats. Then it's very difficult to identify the computers. That's why a universal addressing system is needed or maintained along with the network concept, and that addressing system will call it as a logical address, and it will be 32-bit address format. 32-bit means the four parts, like 8 bits, one part means there will be a 4 parts address system that uniquely defines a host connected to the internet. And this 32-bit address, we'll call it as a IP address, and for each and every computer, the IP address may be different. The figure below shows a part of an internet with 2 routers connecting 3 LANs. Each device has a pair of addresses for each connection. Each device has a pair of address, that is logical and physical, for each connection. In this case, each computer is connected to only one link and therefore has only one pair of address. Each router, however, is connected to 3 networks. Okay, and figure we can see here. So there will be 2 parts here, physical address system and the logical address system. Okay, and you can see here the logical address is same throughout the network, but the physical address is changing. So here the physical address is different in this LAN. Again in this LAN, like it is different, you can see 3399, and in this LAN the physical address is different. That means the physical address is changing for every network, but the logical addresses are same throughout the network. Okay, that means maybe we are sending data from this computer to this computer, then the frame contains physical address and the logical address. Okay, this may be a logical address of sender, logical address of receiver. This may be a logical address of sender and the physical address of maybe receiver. So 2010, 2010. So these things are changing. Physical addresses are changing, but the logical address remains same while sending the packets or data. Okay, so then this from this computer it reaches to this one, and again it reaches to this one. Even there are many number of routers, but still the logical address remains same up to the receiver. So it reaches safely to the receiver side when the sender sends the data. Next one is port address. The IP address and physical address are necessary for a quantity of data to travel from a source to the destination host. However, arrival at the destination host is not the final objective of data communication on the internet. Computers are devices that can run multiple processes at the same time. Okay, that means one packet comes to this receiver side from the sender. It's not enough. Like there may be many number of processes and many number of data parts. That means for one process there may be set of data. Again for another process another set of data. Then each process is identified by one address called port address. Okay, that only they have given. The end objective of internet communication is process communicating with another process. For example, computer A can communicate with computer C by using telnet for the communication. At the same time, computer A communicates with computer B by using FTP. For those processes to receive data simultaneously, we need one address, and that is port address. Okay, and in the TCP/IP architecture, the label assigned to a process is called port address. A port address may be of 16 bits length. That means 2 words, 8 bits 1, again 8 bits 1. That means 2 parts. A port address is a 16-bit address represented by one decimal number. You can see here. Port address will be like this, and there will be a decimal number 753. Then application specific addresses. For each and every application there will be, for the identification there will be one address. Maybe for example your email IDs, maybe the website address, that is URL. These are the example for application specific addresses. Okay, so these are the addressing modes. First we have seen physical address, logical address, port address, and application specific addresses. Okay, physical address to identify the device, and the logical address to transfer the data from one network to another network, and the port address is to identify the process if there are many number of processes on the network. Application specific address is to identify the each and every application. For that purpose there will be a one separate or unique identification address, that we will call it as a application specific address. And the OSI model, Open System Interconnect. Okay, OSI model is established by ISO, and this model has 7 layers. Okay, earlier we have seen TCP/IP model which is having 5 layers, but the OSI model is having 7 layers, and both the layers up to 4 it is same. Only the 5th layer is changing little bit. So just we will see application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. Okay, and the first one, that means commonly we'll start from bottom to top. First one is physical layer. So the physical layer coordinates the functions required to carry a bit stream over a physical medium. It deals with mechanical and electrical specifications of the interface and transmission media. And physical layer is concerned with following. So that is physical characteristics of interface and medium. For each device, the characteristics or interface may be different. So it deals with that concept. Representation of bits which are in the data, and the data rate, that is transmission rate, and synchronization of bits. The sender and receiver not only must use the same bit rate but also must be synchronized at the bit level. Synchronization of bits, line configuration, that is communication media, then the physical topology, which topology it deals with, whether it's a star, ring, or bus, that concept. And the transmission mode, direction of transmission between two devices. There may be simplex, half duplex or full duplex. And what the simplex means? Simplex means only one device can send the data and the other can receive it. And the simplex mode is one-way communication. In the half duplex mode, two devices can send and receive the data, but not at the same time. Okay, just like walkie-talkie. In a full duplex mode, that is simply duplex mode, two devices can send and receive at the same time. Maybe a telephone device, mobile. Second one, data link layer. A data link layer transforms the physical layer, a raw transmission facility, to a reliable link. It makes the physical layer appear error-free to the upper layer, that is network layer. That means above the physical layer there may be data link layer, above that network layer. Okay, and when the data transmission happens, the data must be error free, that it will check data link layer. And other responsibilities, framing, that means splitting the data into frames, flow control, control the flow from the sender to receiver side, and error control. Okay, then the access control. When two or more devices are connected to the same link, data link layer protocols are necessary to determine which device has control over the link at any given time, and that is access control. And network layer is responsible, that is third one, network layer, that is responsible for the source to destination delivery of a packet. Okay, data will be converted into packet, as I said, in the packet transmission method, and possibly across multiple networks, whereas the data link layer oversees the delivery of the packet between two systems on the same network. Okay, when it is sending the packet, whether it reaches to the destination or not, that will be taken care of by this network layer. Okay, and if it is received, again it will send the next frame, and if it is not received, again it will resend the frame. Other responsibilities, that is logical addressing. The physical addressing implements the data link layer, handles the addressing problem locally. That is logical addressing system. Okay, and the routing, when independent networks or links are connected to create internetworks, network of networks of a large network, the connecting device called routers or switches route or switch to the packets to their final destination. Okay, then the transport layer is responsible for process to process delivery of the entire message. Okay, that means in the transport layer there will be a addressing system called port address. Then the service point addressing and the segmentation and reassemble the data. Okay, and the connection control. The transport layer can be either connectionless or connection oriented. And connectionless transport layer treats each segment as an independent packet and delivers it to the transport layer at the destination machine. And in the connection oriented transport layer, a connection with the transport layer at the destination machine first before delivering the packet. Okay, here each segment as an independent packet and delivers it to the transport layer in the connectionless. That means directly it starts sending the packets in the connectionless, but in the connection oriented, it tries to identify the device in the transport layer on the other side, then it transfers the data or packets. Then it controls the flow control error control. Okay, like the data link layer, the transport layer is responsible for flow control. Okay, and the error control, if the error happens, again it has to resend the data and that it will check. And the next one is session layer. So the service provided by the first three layers are not sufficient for some process. Then the session layer is the network dialog controller. That means on the each and every computer there will be a separate session, okay, and it maintains and synchronizes the interaction among communicating system. Okay, when you are working on one process on the single computer, the process will be initialized with its own space, and that we will call it as a session. And the advantage of session is like it saves time, and the session will be initialized on the same machine. When that process is finalized to send, then the session will send it to the next layer. That's the advantage of session layer. And then dialog control, the session layer allows two systems to enter into a dialogue. That means communication between two processes to take place. That is half duplex way or full duplex mode, okay, or simplex mode, that it will check. Then the synchronization. The session layer allows a process to add checkpoints or synchronization points to a stream of data. And the sixth one, the presentation layer, is concerned with the syntax and semantics of the information exchange between two systems. And it is part of application layer, and it controls the syntax and semantics, rules and regulations related to process. And other specific responsibilities are translation. The process in two systems are usually exchange information in the form of character strings, numbers, and so on. Okay, and the information must be changed to bit streams before being transmitted. Encryption. Even this is the task of presentation layer. Okay, encryption, and encryption is to carry a system information to in a different format, and even it is called as decryption on the another side. Encryption converts the data into another format when it is sending, and decryption once again turns it back, that means converts it back to the original format. But here we have to remember one thing: for the encryption and decryption, both the system must be having the same type of format. Then only we can do the transmission. Then the compression. A data compression reduces the number of bits contained in the information while sending. And data compression is the major advantage nowadays by the more information from source to destination. A data compression becomes particularly important in the transmission of multimedia such as text, audio, and video. Even it saves time. Application layer. It enables the user, whether human or software, to access the network. It provides user interfaces and support for services such as electronic mail, that is email, and remote file access and transfer, shared database management, and other types of distributed information services. Okay, it is the last layer above the session layer. So in the session layer, the process will be ready on the current system, and when it is ready to send or to communicate with another side or another application, then the application layer enables the user to access the network. Okay, it provides the user interface. This is called as user interface layer. And other services are network virtual terminal. Okay, and it allows a user to log on to a remote host. That means one person can log into another network's device by using a remote method, and that is called as remote networking. And then file transfer access and management. Okay, and mail services. This provides the basis for email forwarding and storage method. Okay, even there will be like some methods by that we can send the email as well as we can store it in our system, and the best example is Outlook. And the directory service, this application provides distributed database sources and access for global information about various objects and services.